absolutely. Yeah, this is for those of you who don't know, this is our training facility here for the fire department, Children's Fire Department. We run all of our fire academies through here. We currently have 22 firefighters going through right now. And we also do all of our ambulance training in here. So as we hire, which has been a lot over the past couple of years, we've been doing a lot of hiring for our ambulance program. So yeah, this is our training facility. And on top of that, we do all of the in-house training. There's a ton of mandatory training we need to accomplish every year. And so we do that at this facility also. And with that, we're part of what's called the Metro Zone. And so we help with Bonita, Imperial Beach, Coronado, and in San Diego City also. We all kind of join together because we're going to respond together to these incidents. So we all like to train together. So this is kind of a regional training center for all these agencies. So, but yeah, I just wanted to offer those facilities up to you. And if there's any needs, please reach out.
And that's one thing I just wanted to say, that the city of Chula Vista does have a wonderful fire department. So I commend you for doing such a wonderful job.
I appreciate that, yeah. I think we got a wonderful public safety.
Yes.
Yeah, I think our police are very good.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Chair.
Oh, no. We work on an infection team.
Yeah.
Yes. She's a tremendous asset.
There's 2 chairs over here.
Is it? Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Did you find parking okay? I saw a few of you struggling. I'm sorry about that. And well, first of all, we have to thank the fire department and Marlene King and John English, from police officers from Chula Vista. Thank you for everything that you've been doing today, and also Laura Black. That, working on a Saturday is never recommended for anyone, but you got to do what you got to do, right? And this was made on a Saturday because we always try to find an hour that's better for the community. And I know that after work, you're ready to, do homework with the kids, or just dinner, or just unwind from a long work day. So thank you for being here again. I am Councilmember Carolina Chavez, as some of you have seen me, and I have the honor to represent this district, which is District 1. Our community forum will start with an update on what my office has been working on, a presentation for Measure P that is going to be done by Tiffany. I don't see her. Courtney, sorry. Courtney Chase, Deputy City Manager. Our lovely Courtney Chase. Thank you for being here, Courtney. And a quick update from our fire and police development services departments and, and development service departments, and a Q&A session after that. I also want to thank, like I mentioned earlier, the Chula Vista Fire Department, especially Deputy Chief Monroe and Marlene King, for hosting this forum today. And I want to begin today with an update on the SR 125. As many of you know, I represent the city of Chula Vista on the SANDC Board of Directors. And we recently got notified this October that there was an issue with the SR 125 toll system. including improper billing, inability to track the funds collected internally, and the future to collect in the partnership with the DMV completely broken. The board was kept in the dark for 18 months about these challenges. Transparency is the only correct answer. I've been very vocal about this issue, specifically that we have to make our tolling systems disappear completely. We are able to retire the bonds by 2027. As many of you know, we have a new CEO at Sandag, who's Mario Orso, who brings to the table more than 35 plus years of experience in the region, which is something very beneficial for us. We're incredibly grateful that he decided to step up and take this position. There's going to be, on the 125, there's going to be an investigation. It's an ongoing investigation, and we are holding accountable all the personnel that will be in the future if discovered that they omitted notifying the board at a timely matter. We created the Office of the Independent Performance Auditor, which is called OIPA, and hired Courtney Ruby to investigate. We are still working to understand the full extent of the challenges with the current toll system. I've been advocating, if not by 2027, the latest that we are willing to negotiate is 2030, because we do have bonds that could potentially affect us if we retire the toll system before we have the full picture of how this would affect this return rate. The solution to the situation is to remove the toll as soon as possible. Our residents will not experience these challenges if they're... So Chula Vista is the only, the largest city that is paying for these tolls. It's, sorry, and we don't have any tolling roads within our region, within our county. So what we've been doing is advocating. It was made for the promise. It was created initially. It was created initially for an expansion, to save on an expansion of the 805. So one that saved the region hundreds of millions of dollars was this idea that SR 125 is an essential corridor for the future of our city. With Otay Mesa East, I don't know if many of you have been hearing about Otay Mesa East. It's this large project that has been in the making for more than 15 years. I was initially part of the creation of the idea of having another border crossing. Specifically, as we all know, we are one of the largest commercial trade partners with Mexico, and this creates billions in international trade. So Otay Mesa East, the SR 125, is meant to alleviate this pressure of traffic, reduce the number of also contamination, because we are creating tons and tons of contamination while we're sitting at the border or sitting in traffic every single day. So what we want to do is advocate for this road to be free and to be open, so people can also have more time to go back to their families in a timely manner. Why would you want to have to leave 30 minutes before when you can spend it maybe in breakfast with your children? So with the upcoming university project also, we're removing these barriers. We recently learned from our developers that we are creating these, hi, good morning, these attachments to the 125, and they're actually working with Caltrans to create themselves these attachments to the 125 that, aside from helping the development, the housing, will also help the university. If you're not familiar with the university project, I would gladly have someone from our office. Jared is raising his hand and sending it over to you. It's a great, great project. It's a city next to our university. That's why university. It's actually something that's going to be bringing a lot of students in a binational matter as well to the region. And with that, I would also love to mention that we were working with Assembly Member David Alvarez on AB 91. I don't know if many of you are familiar with this bill, but AB 91. So we came to realization that we had, after COVID, we had low enrollment in Southwestern College. So we worked with David Alvarez to create a bill. So we saw that a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of students were coming from across the border, and they were paying out of out of country tuitions when they're just 15 minutes away, and we needed that enrollment for our university. Southwestern College has been a great partner. David Alvarez as well. I had the honor to go with him and Liliana from his office. Liliana Barbas is here today, also taking notes as an extension of the Assembly Member's office for anything that we can't take care of as a group here in the city. She's going to take back to the Assembly Member. So thank you for being here. And on the 24th of May, along with Supervisor Vargas, we took some significant changes. I want to mention that I'm also the vice chair of the Borders Committee. So what that means, with my 23 years plus of experience in binational affairs, economic development, and migration, I understand the issues that we're facing right now with not just economic development, international trade, border crossings, but also I've been part of the Borders Committee for more than 10 years. So right now, to be the vice chair, it's a humbling experience, because we get to put all this information that we have from the chambers, from our local partners, into action, including the Tijuana River Valley issue that has. Honestly, it's very impactful to see this presentation. The contamination is just ridiculous. We have been working with federal government in Mexico, with the Office of the Governor, Marina del Pilar in Baja California, and they have funding now to replace a lot of the treatment plants that were failing. So that's something that's coming as well. It was elevated through Borders to the board of directors to take action as a board at Sandag. And I also mentioned I also wanted to mention that as I served at the Metropolitan Transit System, MTS, as a board member last year and as an alternate this year, we were able to, as you may all know, the Blue Line is one of the most transited lines in the region. And it's the most heavily used lines in the region. And that means many things. But we did have a focus group at the Public Safety Committee that I also served last year at MTS. And we had a focus group with women, children, men, elderly, students. And the main issue was public safety. People did not like riding the trolley because they did not feel safe. And it was loud and clear when mom said, well, I can run, but my kids can't, right? I have to get up in the morning and see if I'm gonna wear high heels, a skirt, or just pants and tennis shoes, and not try to, get attention. And it's sad because I actually mentioned it at the board meeting that I was that person that rode the trolley to downtown, and I had to get up in the morning and said, oh, I'm riding the trolley today, so I'm going to wear sneakers. I'm going to wear, dark clothes. You don't want to have any attention. And some of the things that we also mentioned is that we don't have live feed. That is something that I would love to continue working with the board. We don't have live feed where the trolley driver is aware what's happening in the trolley cart. We record it for public safety issues later, but we can't stop the trolley. Obviously, it's not recommended to stop as soon as you're aware of something, but we have many cases of, just people being badgered or just in any way feeling unsafe, and it wasn't a quick response. So what we were actually responsible as an initial step forward was adding as a board 42 additional positions and 5 dispatchers. So 42 additional positions was for staff to be on site. That alone really helped us. Just people, it's not the accountability of the ticketing, right? Because a few board members were worried about profiling, and while we completely understand that, we also want our riders to feel safe and feel watched and feel protected in some way, shape, or form. So we did advocate for that, and that was actually a really good step forward, because I think we do have that focus group available for the public. If you also would like to hear what the feedback was from these people, Jared can share it with you. It's a public document, and it's very interesting and heartbreaking at the same time, because we don't have the resources completely 1,000% we have a great system. We're updating the system. We're talking about also listening to the public and see how we can move forward. I would love to see a live feed. That we have panic buttons right now. We have send a text to this telephone of dispatcher, and we will address your concern as soon as possible. But as we know, a lot of people don't have, or not techie. I'm not techie at all, and you can't scan a QR code. You don't know where it goes. You don't know how to use it. We have to move mindfully in considering all these people that also have language barriers, that have tech barriers, and all these issues that we are seeing. So as many of you know, also we are imminent opening of the Gaylord Pacific project and the surrounding bayfront projects, creating great separations for us at MTS again. With all this movement that's coming with the Gaylord project, we have great separations with the trolley. What does that mean? That there is now, for the Palomar station, it's been approved that we have, right now we have funding for great separation, because there's been many accidents when you turn to the trolley, because it's at ground level, it's at a car level, right? So right now we are working on putting Chula Vista on the map, on pushing Chula Vista to be one of the projects that is coming forward, not just the Palomar station, but for all the stations in Chula Vista to be considered and avoid these fatal accidents that we've been seeing. Also, I want to talk about, so we've been working also with a few other projects right here. We've been actively working with so I want to commend the fire department with their they hosted a binational, I'm going to let you talk about that in a little bit, but they hosted not just is it a statewide? Countywide, but also binational training. As many of you know, we also deal with binational fires. So sharing that knowledge with the supervisors from that side of the border is also very crucial and very altruistic, I might say. It was just something really noble I got to see that day, that union, the 3-day event that you were being part of and leading. I also want to mention that yesterday I was part of unveiling at the San Isidro, border crossing here in San Isidro. I don't know if many of you remember the welcome sign that is just crossing the border. Right now it was updated with the California emblematic there, and it says specifically, bienvenidos. And it's really heartwarming, because I remember the first time I saw it, I was a little kid, and just that welcoming sign really means a lot when you use multi-language in emblematic signs. So come here, Victor, join us. So with that, I will come back. I want to first ask our lovely Courtney Chase, Deputy City Manager. We will have a Q&A later on, but she will talk about Measure P before I keep going on and on with all the information that we still have. Thank you, Courtney, for being here.
I'm not the Courtney from Sandad. So I heard my name, I was like, is it me? And for those of you that have heard this presentation, because I know some of you have heard it multiple times, there's donuts over there. So feel free to get one if you've already seen it. See? And my dad was a police officer, so.
Don't be shy.
My dad was CHP, so I grew up at donut houses. All right, so a quick update on Measure P. A little bit of background is a half-cent sales tax that was approved by the voters in 2016 and went into effect in April of 2017. So it was a half-cent sales tax that was for 10 years, and with that it instituted a citizen oversight committee. So that committee still exists today, and what they do is they review and the spending of Measure P funds and make sure it goes along with our infrastructure, facilities, and equipment plan. So prior to the implementation or going to the public for Measure P, the city basically did a whole review of infrastructure. We found storm drains we didn't know we had, we counted door handles, and it was very comprehensive. And with that came a critical priority list. This picture has been here since before January when the floods happened, and I'm a reformed HR person, so this is how I learned. This is corrugated metal pipe, if you don't know it. This is what keeps water flowing when it rains and keeps the streets from flooding. So basically the city went through and looked at everything. We not only had above ground streets, things like that, but what we had underground in the infrastructure that we had. So we had a number of places throughout the city that looked like this, and through Measure P dollars, we've actually replaced 20,000 linear feet of corrugated metal pipe throughout the city. So with it, not only was it that, it was to pave, maintain, and repair residential streets, upgrade, because we do have funding that covers the main streets that go through town, but the residential streets, there aren't external funds that come from managing those. Like I said, replacing storm drains. It also prevents sinkholes, upgrading irrigation systems, essential repairs to the library, senior center, and other recreation centers. So what we did was look at what are the things we need to do first to prevent further deterioration of the assets that we have within the city. So some of the major things you can see around town, War Park renovation and a number of sports courts and fields throughout the city that we've worked on over the past 7 years. The residential street rehab and repair. The goal was to go, streets are rated from 0 to 100. The day they get paved, they're 100, and then they will never be that way again once someone drives on it. But what we did was the city's commitment with Measure P was to work on streets that were rated 0 to 25. So really the worst streets that are the most expensive to repair. Through Measure P dollars and the funding exceeding that, we actually replaced or rehabbed streets that were rated from 0 to 33. So we exceeded what we had planned on with our first streets that we were identified for needing to be repaired. And then we also did things like upgrade the city network, the things you can't see. So the best way to describe it from our IT director is we can now see when people are knocking on our windows trying to get in. And we have been able to prevent that from happening since we've done these upgrades at the city. Drainage channels, so working on those throughout the city. Sidewalks, we've done over 7,000 sidewalks, or maybe up to 9,000. I think up to 9,000 sidewalks where we've either cut if there's a small lift where people can trip, or if it's higher than a certain number, which I don't have our public works director here, we've actually replaced it throughout the city. And then also working on traffic signals, doing upgrades to improve visibility or provide left-hand turn lanes.
Is this mostly on west of 805?
I have maps that will show it all to you. So it's east of the 805 if you're in northern Chula Vista for the most part.
That War Park up there, that's east of 805.
Yeah, so a lot of the older county infrastructure that was incorporated has been hit with that. Two things we did is we picked up and moved, or basically created new fire stations and new locations. So our fire department admin worked through where would be the best location for fire facilities based on response times and where calls were coming in throughout the city. And which fire stations did we move? See, this is great having Chris here.
Station 3 and Station 5.
So Station 3 and 5 were moved and actually rebuilt in new locations, and it's actually reduced response times at those stations, so they're able to get to calls faster than they previously were. We've also updated the police dispatch center with a new CAD system. It's a critical component to the work they do, and if you haven't heard our police chief talk about it, we have live 911. Oh, I have John here. You can ask him all the questions about it. But we've updated a number of the technology to help our dispatchers and our officers in the field so that they can hear what's going on when they're deployed. We've also done things like Loma Verde for those of you. I know a number of you have been there because I've seen you there. But it is absolutely beautiful. It was a facility that was originally identified just to be rehabbed. So it was replace the roof, work on the floors. But if you have been there, or there's some other facilities too that kind of look like that throughout the city, it was actually torn down to the ground and completely redone. So we now have an Olympic-sized pool. 2 teams can practice at once there. We have a smaller therapeutics pool that's heated. There's a kids splash pad. There's a kiln if you want to do pottery. There's archery. It is an absolutely amazing facility. And then other things that we've worked on are the Civic Center Library. So that was bathrooms in the roof to really keep it safe and working. But I am proud to say that our city librarian actually received $19.5 million in state funding through grants to now and work on the things we weren't able to touch at both the Civic Center Library and South Library. So it's $9.75 million for each facility. So while we've used Measure P funds, we've still been in search of other funds to make projects move forward. So the list and locations, this is actually on our website. There's an interactive map that's updated all the time that you can see. So these are the community facilities that have been worked on throughout the city. Sorry, this is going to look really hard for you to see in here, but parks, fields, and courts throughout the city that we've worked on. And specifically, even though Laura's here and can talk about it a little bit later, Eucalyptus Park is one where we've received grant funding to really work on adding new amenities. But we found with a number of our grants, we can't replace existing infrastructure that exists. A lot of grant funds that are out there are to add new things to the community. And so when we looked at that park specifically and all of the great features that are going to be added, there wasn't funding to replace the courts or the things that were already there, the restrooms. So what we've been able to do is supplement that with Measure P funds to repair the existing infrastructure so that when that park reopens, it looks all brand new. Tangent. Energy and water enhancements and upgrades throughout the city. The public safety facilities, that's where you're going to find your fire stations and your police stations. And this is going to be very hard to see, but on there in little light and dark purple is 20,000 linear feet of corrugated metal pipe that really keeps the water moving throughout the city when rains and storms come. Here are the streets, and you can see where now it's moving into the northern part of eastern Chula Vista, where we've been redoing streets. And actually on the city's website right now, you can see what street conditions are in right now, so you can kind of see what those look like at this point in time. Sidewalks. We went everywhere. Yeah, the whole city. It used to be the top layer on the GIS map, so you couldn't see we did anything else, but really the sidewalks, and those are so imperative. It's so easy to trip. My mom was in another city and actually tripped on a sidewalk, and broke 2 fingers. So it's important that these things happen. So a little bit about Measure P. It was originally anticipated to raise $165 million, and that was identified as the highest priority needs, but the revenues of it outpaced the expectation, and that's how we were able to bring on other projects online, like the full Loma Verde remodel that have happened, or also pay for some of the other things, cars and other vehicles that have had a pretty high inflation rate, fire trucks, police vehicles that have happened over the past couple years. The other thing that we did at the very beginning, because it does take revenues a while to come in, is we did bond $70 million of Measure P. So we had $70 million come in about 6 months in, I think, to the program, and be able to start addressing the major things, the streets, the roofs that we knew were causing further deterioration of our infrastructure. A little bit about the Oversight Committee. It's made up of 9 members. There's someone from each district, and then there's a number of community groups that can actually place or nominate people to serve on that committee. So it is your Chamber of Commerce, the San Diego Taxpayers Association, the Parks and Rec Commission, so kind of a variety of people, and members of the public. And what they do is review the spending of the city to make sure it is in line with what we said we were going to do. And just so you know, this also exists for Measure A. If you have the question, we have it for both. So what this measure is set to expire in 2017. So right now we're looking
2017.
2027. I just tried to make myself younger. I blame my children. So with this, it's set to expire in 2027. So we're currently looking at returning to council with a possible 10-year extension, maintaining the same half-cent sales tax for an additional 10 years. The city has been coming to community groups. We've been going to every single board and commission. We have been at council, getting feedback in the fall, November and December. We actually did a voter survey, and right now you should have all received in the mail a feedback form that you could either mail in or do a QR code to send in that feedback. So we're compiling that information right now to bring back to council to prioritize future infrastructure needs that exist. Continued funding could be used for a number of things. When we first passed Measure P, there was a commitment to no new staff and no new infrastructure. So it really was committed to not adding one additional staff member at the city. And then we had $245 million to spend, which does take some staff. But it also, in doing the surveys this time, something that's come up that previously hasn't is homelessness and the impact to keeping parks safe and clean, streets safe and clean. And really, we looked at our abilities to implement the things that we said we were going to do through Measure P in the first time. So a number of the things you see on the screens of things we could look at doing are the same as we did with the first round of Measure P. But if that funding were to continue, we would look at adding staff to work on homeless encampments, keeping parks safe, and a public works crew to work on streets and potholes and the things you see that are out there that have to do with our infrastructure. And then also adding some staff to actually work on the infrastructure that we do own, like a plumber and some tradespeople to add to it. So as we do that, in the most recent adopted budget, council approved 2 members to work on homeless encampments specifically. So adding 2 more would make a full public works crew to be able to make those cleanups ongoing and dedicated for staff. So like I said, when we're looking at this, any local funding would still be, this is local funding and it stays in Chula Vista. It's not charged to essential purchases, so the things you don't see charged now, like groceries, prescription medicines, stay out of the mix when collecting the tax. And it must stay local in Chula Vista. So here's where we are now. We completed the feasibility study. We're just doing awareness campaign right now. If anyone has a group, I am a traveling roadshow, so if there's somewhere you would like me to show up and do this same presentation, I'm happy to do it. Like I said, we're looking at taking this to council at the end of the month as a possible additional, extending that for an additional 10 years. We have had questions, why are we doing it now when it's set to expire in 2026, not 16, 17? And that is because we really
27.
20. It would need to be on would need to be in November 26 would be our last opportunity to have it on the ballot. But the measure goes until March 31st, 2027. There we go. Not enough coffee. So with that, we're looking at, we currently have about $20 million that hasn't been allocated to projects of that $265 million anticipated revenue. So as we look at it, if we know now what the next 10 years beyond that looks like, we can really plan for what the city wants to do and what the needs are moving forward. And here is David Garcia. He is our chair of our Measure P Citizen Oversight Committee. And we gave this started as an initial presentation to that committee, and they said, why aren't you out telling people? We don't always do the best job of telling everyone what we're doing at the city. And then there's a flyer that contains a lot of this information online. If you just Google City of Chula Vista Measure P, you will find all of this. And I'm available for any questions. Yes.
You had me all along seeing all the work, because I do out see.
Yeah, you're out.
I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
the work your staff
Mhm.
does.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate all the sidewalks and infrastructure. You lost me
Oh, okay.
when,
I'm gonna bring you back. I'm convinced I can do
You
it.
incorporated the homeless. It just seems like a bottomless pit of mismanaged, from state to local to city to county, of mismanagement funds. If anything, our homeless population keeps growing and the funding keeps flowing. So I would stay home too and just wait for the money to come all in, and it keeps coming in. So that discourages me.
Okay, I'm gonna convince you.
And I
Can I?
would, and tell my whole family not to vote for it, based on that alone.
So what this is 2 staff to clean up homeless encampments. It's not for
Right,
other
they're not-
services.
But they're not gonna go out physically cleaning it themselves.
Yeah,
They're gonna need, really?
Yeah.
That's all they're gonna do.
Yeah.
So that will be in the description, that's all they do, they're gonna go clean homeless, where's the money coming? I mean, it's obviously, if I have to fix this, mind you, I want the homeless issue being addressed, cause it's sad.
yeah,
People have mental health issues, they have drug, alcohol issues, it's really a sad situation we're in. They deserve to have something, this addressed,
Right.
something's happening, but not that. I just don't see a plan for that rolling out in a way that would satisfy people who are already so upset with just the whole mismanagement of them.
Yeah. So this is 2 public works employees for homelessness
That's that,
specifically.
they can't fix it. 100 people couldn't fix it.
Okay, I'm gonna have John come over. See, I'm gonna bring it now.
We're all coming over.
So, some very good points. Homelessness, or unsheltered population with the community is something that's a concern for everybody. And we've noticed statewide that there has been an increase in homeless folks or unsheltered population. I think what it is, it's a multi-level approach to help folks get off the street, right? And so looking at that, Bernie Pinedo, I was going to introduce him a little bit later, but Lieutenant Pinedo is our homeless outreach manager. And so he works directly with the city and folks in not only trying to provide services to folks, but also the enforcement component to help people on the street. Bernie, if you could maybe just give us some brief insight into what we do as a police department, and then specifically how this will segue in helping with the Measure A.
So are you clarifying
Or
that
measure
the money would go to the PD versus the city, is that what you're telling me?
Well, I think we're gonna.
Why don't we wait
have a-
for the Q&A, because I think everyone has their presentation by itself, and maybe we answer a few other questions. And maybe let's wait the Q&A after, and then we'll address all of it together. Is that okay?
Very good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Courtney. We can't thank you enough for taking the time this Saturday. Courtney, we don't value her enough. She works night and day. I walk in very late, I walk in very early, and she's always there. I also so right now I'm going to present Marlene King from the Emergency Service Manager for an update on fire.
I'm gonna hunt that for him.
Oh, sorry. We have our
Deputy Chief Chris
Deputy
Monroe.
Chief Monroe. Yeah, sorry. Oh. So also something that we had with him, I was mentioning the County Wildland Day at Solid Creek Golf Course, and if you want to tell them a little bit about that. And we also had in this training facility around 20 hermanitas from the MANA program, which is a program designed for underprivileged Latina children that have mentors in any field. So if you want to be a part of that, also Jared can send that out. It's a great program that has put many young Latinas through school, universities, and these grants that they seek out for them to finish college. And I also want to thank our interns, Naomi Ortiz and Yokabeth Sanchez, that were here from early and have been helping us plan this. And with any further ado, I'm sorry, I forgot your position. I went blank.
No, that's all right.
Welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all joining us this morning. That's a tremendous effort that was done to gather everybody. So yeah, the county wildland drill. It's the San Diego County, it's a long name, wildland preparedness exercise. And so what it is it is a drill that's been conducted since 2004. We recognized in 2003 when the Cedar Fire came through that the efforts that we've been putting forth as the fire service weren't as effective as they could be and weren't as efficient as they could be. So the group of fire chiefs got together and said, hey, we need to really dig in and provide the best service for the communities. And so they started this drill. This was the 21st annual, and it was the first time it's been held south of the 8. So to me, it's a disservice to the citizens of Chula Vista, as well as the citizens of just the South Bay. Like we need to have that training here. And the benefits of the training is it provides not only the opportunity for the fire departments throughout the county and also Imperial County, and also we brought up bomberos from the local border regions to work together. But we also collaborated with Chula Vista Police Department, San Diego Police Department, Sheriffs. All the agencies are going to be responding to assist in this. And in 2003, we had fires burning up to our back door. In 2007, we had fires burning up to Salt Creek, where we actually conducted a huge part of the drill. Otay Water District was more than gracious enough to allow us to use the old Salt Creek golf course, which was tremendous. We worked in the San Miguel Ranch area, a little bit of Bonita, kind of down off Janelle in the horse area, and then also in Rolling Hills Ranch and East Lake 1. We had fire crews in there, police department in there, and the whole goal was for these crews to be able to see these neighborhoods during the daylight. So we're not showing up in the dead of pitch of dark, smoke all over the place, people trying to evacuate, and put together plans to effectively minimize risk and hopefully stop the fires before they do anything catastrophic. So that's a good segue into what's going on now. So over the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of rain. Thankfully, as Courtney mentioned, we've had a lot of the infrastructure replaced, right? All the pipes replaced, drainage is cleared out. Otherwise, we could have been in a similar situation as National City, San Diego City, with all the flooding that occurred. So it's because of those proactive measures that we didn't have those situations. So a couple of years of heavy rain has led us to now pretty healthy fuels, right? Pretty healthy. And so a recent study that just came back, it ranked San Diego, and really San Diego, Chula Vista, and Carlsbad as one of the top 3 highest, trying to figure the right word for it. We're in the top 3 of highest reconstruction cost values. So we're going to be impacted by fires in the whole nation. So it's really important that we proactively work to try to minimize these risks. And really it's districts 1 and 3. Districts 1 and 3, where we have all that urban interface matched up, where we're building out, it could lead to catastrophic things. So we're doing a lot of stuff within the fire service, the city itself. We have, in fall of last year, we started a fuels crew. That fuels crew is working on minimizing hazardous risk, trying to clear out vegetation around some of the canyons. Previously, we've had grants and hired outside companies that have done that, but the amount of work that our internal crews can do far outpaces what these companies are even hiring. So that's one of the huge benefits is that fuels crew. Not only is that fuels crew working on clearing out the vegetation, but it's also providing opportunities for young people that are looking to get into the fire service. It's kind of a pathway. We've been working with Marlon King, our emergency manager, and we're really active in Alert San Diego. So what Alert San Diego does is it provides situational awareness through text messages, phone calls, or emails out to the community. And it's going to tell you just any notifications of any emergencies that are occurring. So please sign up for it. Encourage people to sign up for it. Alert San Diego if you haven't yet. Another thing that we're coordinating with is Genesis Protect. So Genesis Protect is a new platform that's coming out, and we'll use it in collaboration with the police department, and that provides us the areas. Say there was a fire out over off Mackenzie Creek. We'd be able to pull up the maps and say we need to evacuate these streets. We can work with the police department. They can go in and start evacuating. But it also provides an app for you to have on your phone where you can pull it up and see what types of incidents are going in your area. It's a new thing. It just started on May 31st is the first day it rolled out. So it's an app-based, put it on your phone, but it also provide phone calls, text messages, and emails through that also. And it's really just a way of us to be able to put out information to the public, similar to reverse 911, where it keeps you up to date and lets you know what's going on in your areas. We are working on starting up the Chula Vista Fire Safe Council. What that does is it's just to educate residents about the risks that are going on, better prepare the communities for wildland fires, and implement just some steps of how to protect your homes and your communities. The goal of it is to foster fire prevention and safety throughout the city. And we're looking at community members to come in and join this Fire Safe Council. And there's gonna be more coming out about that in the future. And if you're interested, the email that you can contact is fsc@chulavistaca.gov. So FSC for Fire Safe Council, ca.gov. Yes, ma'am.
I signed up for it when Chief Nuns did a presentation.
Yes.
First Friday last month.
Okay.
I haven't received anything else on it.
I think they're giving it a little bit more time just to get enough engagement from the community, and then they're gonna start firing up.
Repeat that email.
Yes, ma'am. It's fsc@chulavista.gov.
Is FSC?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Does Chula Vista have a CERT program?
We do have a CERT program, yeah. Hugo Bermudez is in charge of the CERT program, and it's actually overseen by Marlon King, our emergency manager.
Can you just real briefly share with everybody about the Ferkel, Chief Nuns shared with it at the First Friday?
I'm not familiar with it. I would have to lean on Chief Munns.
Okay.
We can bring it back and share it
I'll get some information for you.
by email if you want.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to congratulate our response time from our EMTs since we brought them in-house has been incredible. Would you like to mention that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's on my right here.
Yeah,
coming
go
up.
ahead.
So yeah, our ambulance transport system, our ATS, the ambulances that we have, has been phenomenal. And the reason I say that is because it's decreased the response times to the citizens tremendously. There was times where, realistically, there's been times where we've put people on fire engines and driven them to the hospital because we're waiting so long for an ambulance. The patient was so emergent that I was like, man, we can't wait. We need to get them to the hospital. It was not atypical for us to wait 30, 45 minutes for an ambulance to get here. So since we've had our ambulance system here, our response times have not dropped below 90%, which is, you're not going to see that anywhere else in the county. So some of the reasons is because we supervise those crews, so we know what they're doing. We use system status. We move the ambulances around to the most impacted areas. If this area has all the ambulances that are assigned to that, we'll move other ambulances over there to cover that. Additionally, I lost track of where I was going, but so the response times. And we've also added more units, so we have more unit hours covering the city. So yeah, tremendous things. So that's great. But the other great thing is our the fees for it are below the county average and dropped $1,000 below what our previous contractor was. So, I mean, you look at the grand scheme, the big picture of all, and it's just a win-win for everybody. For me, I oversee our training division. It is a direct pipeline for us to hire from. We get to see these employees working for us for 6 months, a year, year and a half. We know their work ethic. We know how they fit in within our culture, within our city, because we want to hire the best people for the fire service because we want to provide the best service to the community. And so it's a tremendous, many folds. It's been a great program. Yes, sir.
I can attest to that. My daughter, heart stopped. You guys got 10 minutes.
Yeah,
She was
it's
really surprised.
it's pretty phenomenal. It's
Because it's really fast.
yeah, and we knew it would be. We were confident that would be, but once we've started pulling all the data and really extrapolating it, interpreting it, it is exceeded far beyond of what we anticipated. So yeah, yes,
I
ma'am.
want to thank you for your compassion too. We lost a nephew to fentanyl,
Mm-hmm.
and your staff was there within 3 minutes.
Yeah,
And they sat there with him for over an hour trying to resuscitate and bring him help. But the compassion that everybody had, the family that was there, it's just thank you very much.
yeah, we appreciate that. And it's one of the good things about our community is so we have public safety, police and fire. I mean, if in those situations, I'm sure police is going to respond. They're often there even before we are. And so we have that, but then we also have, it's called the CAST, Community Adversity Support Team, and it's volunteers throughout the city that we will contact because we're good at the physical helping, but these people come in and help with the facilitating, getting the coroner arrangements to get people to the morgue. I mean, that's the true essence of public servanthood right there, is these volunteers that are coming in and really helping with the community. They're their heart behind us, and so it's a holistic approach that we're taking. So, yes, sir.
Quick comment.
Yes, sir.
As president of the Utah Law Board,
Yes, sir.
we're very pleased that everything worked out. Matter of fact, we showed the video of the training at our board meeting on Wednesday. We had some good responses on that.
Yes, sir.
So we felt a pride that we could work together. My brother's a chief in Murrieta.
Yes, sir.
He was there and he gave it high marks. So I just want to make sure that before we leave, I just give you a pin that says our time and also with the big eye.
And we truly do appreciate what OTI has done for us. We currently, Thursday, we started a burn in an area over west of 125, south of Otay Lakes, and north of Olympic. There's a large grass area. And so it's kind of, we are working in conjunction with them. We're removing a hazardous area. We're going to burn all that fuel off. But we're going to do it to be able to teach a class. So part of our classes for, as we take people up to these large fires throughout the state, there's got to be somebody in charge. Well, to be in charge, you got to go through this class, and it's very limited on where you can take it. Fortunately, some of our in-house personnel can teach this class, and so we're teaching this class to members, 24 firefighters throughout the county, and we're going to be burning out there in that area, and that's only due to OTI, their generosity and allowing us to use that area to train in. So, thank you.
Well, thank you again, Deputy Chief Chris Monroe. Sorry I blanked out. Like this guy. And I mean, again, the city staff has done an incredible job. The HR department on working closely with fire, recruiting the best of the best in the county for Chula Vista. That gives us a lot of peace of mind, not just when there's a tragedy, but on a daily basis with our EMTs and with everything, the training facilities, everything that we're doing on a daily. It just gives us a humbling perspective on how lucky we are to be in their hands. And talking about how lucky we are, I want to present Captain John English from the police department. Thank you for being here today.
Well, I guess we could say good afternoon, right? Bless you. So I'm going to provide just a real brief overview of our Measure P monies. I have a tendency to be verbose, and I realize that we're under time constraints, so I'll do my very best to keep it concise and to the point. I kind of got ahead of myself. We were talking about some homelessness issues, but I first would like to introduce also Lieutenant Ernie Pinedo. Ernie oversees our community relations unit, a lot of different things and facets underneath that unit. Homeless outreach team is one of the things that he specializes in. I kind of want to save just a small bit of time because I know that is a hot topic for a lot of folks, and I really would like you to see what we're doing, some fantastic things as an agency to address this issue, and then how it will dovetail into the Measure P that Courtney was speaking about. First of all, thank you, Councilmember Chavez, for the opportunity to speak here, Fire for hosting, and we're really, really happy to be here. My name is Captain John English. I'm temporarily in an acting position, hoping for a permanent promotion, representing the chief in command. For us, so you understand, I oversee the Community Engagement Division, and within that is the Community Relations Unit, our Traffic Bureau, and our Street Team Gang Suppression Unit. So there's a lot of things. Oh, and our School Resource Officers Program is under our division, which is a very important program, as you're aware. So Measure P is a fantastic measure that the police department is very thankful for because it allows us to address some of the aging equipment and necessities within the organization. And without it, we would really be at a loss. So we have for the 2025 Measure P allocations, we're looking at replacing aging police vehicles, so our patrol unit, if you will. Some of our patrol units, if you can imagine, we run 24/7 nonstop, some of these vehicles. They occur high mileage, a lot of wear and tear, so in order to keep up with the calls for service within the community, it's important that we replace these vehicles in a timely manner. I would say the average life of a patrol car is no more than 5 years, and we can get in excess of about 100,000 miles on some of these cars. We also have plans and earmarked for the replacement of cameras at the police facility. So the cameras that are currently along the exterior portion of the police department have been there for over 20 years. And as you can understand that once you buy technology, I think within the next week it's already outdated kind of thing. So it's important for us to stay on top of that for building security and awareness. So that's something that we're implementing. Also, Courtney was mentioning our CAD system. So CAD is a vital piece of the organization. What it stands for is computer-aided dispatching. This is the way our dispatch centers are working. It is computerized, and it helps us to get our calls for service dispatched in a timely manner. If you weren't aware of this, Courtney mentioned a program that we have called Live 911. Has anybody heard of this, read about it? Okay, let me just throw this out here so you can understand what this is. This program is a web-based application which allows us to stream 911 calls into our patrol car or within our drone program. So if you're a law enforcement person within our agency, dispatcher, you have the ability to pull up Live 911. So as a call is being placed by a community member here for a call for service, the officer or dispatcher or drone pilot can hear that call as it's coming into the station. Now, a typical routing system for an emergency call has to come through the phone line. The call taker has to collect the information, route it to the dispatcher, and sometimes, depending on the complexity of the details, could take up to 2 minutes to get these calls dispatched. When you're facing an emergency, every second counts. So what allows the officers that are driving around in their car is to hear the call as it's being placed and to immediately start that way. And a lot of times, the officers could be actually on scene before the call even is dispatched. There's several success stories with this. We were able to save many people's lives. We had, like for instance, an incident where a lady was at a child party with her child. One of her children slipped into the pool and was drowning. She was absolutely panicked, didn't know where she was. Obviously, it's not her residence. Called 911. The 911 program allows us, like a GIS map, and within 3 meters to pinpoint the actual call location that the call is coming from. The officer was in a very short distance and arrived before the call even finished and performed life-saving measures and was able to save the child's life. So as you can see, this Live 911 is a very essential piece for us to service our community. Also, we have plans to update our current RCS system. And what that is basically our radio system, right? So radios on the hips and within our dispatch center. Another very critical and vital piece for us to service our community and to make sure we provide the best service. Those are what's earmarked for this current upcoming fiscal year. I know you guys may have some questions, and for brevity's sake, I also wanted to leave a little bit of time here for Lieutenant Pinedo just to talk briefly about the successes and the community outreach with our homeless outreach team. So Ernie, if you could come up here and just give an overview, if you will.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Question, like in 911, there's also landlines as well, because I know seniors, they still have landlines, they don't have cell phones.
Yes, so we're connected, landlines still apply, right? So not everybody has a cell phone, and we recognize that, yeah.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for the warm welcome. My name is Lieutenant Ernie Pinedo. I oversee community policing unit, like John mentioned. So I oversee the school resource officers, the street team, community relations, the homeless outreach team, and the FTO program. So I have quite a few units under me. And so somebody mentioned homelessness, so I'll speak on that briefly. So I have 2 poster boards up here. This one right here, people always ask, like, what are we doing with homelessness? And let me just take you back. And what happened is back early 2016, we started to see an increased calls for service involving homelessness. So of course, we had to gather the data, put it together, and we realized that we needed to address the issue directly. And so that's where the department made a decision to form the homeless outreach team. It was 1 sergeant and 2 officers in August of 2016. And all their mission was to address homelessness. And it took them a while to get to know the individuals, because if you know anything about homelessness, some of them very few accept the offer early on. A lot of them, the majority of them, you have to build a rapport with them. And that is the challenge. And so it takes a special kind of person to work on the team. I was very fortunate that in 2019, I became the sergeant of the homeless outreach team, and I did it for 3 years until I promoted to lieutenant. And then I came back as the lieutenant of the unit. So I'm very happy. It's very close and dear to me because it's something that I know and I understand. And so people will always say, well, what is the team doing? And here you can see just some bullet points. We have a very robust homeless outreach team. And when I say homeless outreach team, that doesn't just mean it's the police department. Absolutely not. The homeless outreach team is composed of a park ranger, police, a full-time PERP clinician that can do mental health assessments on the field, an employee from the county who can, on the spot, approve someone for general relief or schedule a meeting with someone that they want to speak to at the county level, and our outside partners such as the Rescue Mission, McAllister Institute, Alpha Project, Public Works. So it's just a number of units that make up the homeless outreach team. And so when we talk about the hot team, that's what the hot team is. It's not just specifically to police department. We do regular coordinated outreach. Every Wednesday, the full complement of services gets together. We designate a location, we meet up, and we discuss areas that we need to address, whether it's cleanup, or we go and hand out resources and services to those individuals looking for services. We also bring out a mobile shower where the homeless can come and take a shower. They get clean clothes, sandals, hygiene kits, and whatever they need. We have county nurses that come out with us. They'll provide vaccines, Hep A. They even issue out naloxone, which if you don't know what that is, naloxone is what reverses the effects of overdoses, opioid overdoses. And so it's a full complement of services that we bring out to the team. Housing options. We have temporary to permanent housing. If you scan this QR code, it'll give you a map of our most recent point in time count that the city did. So there's in January, the nation does a point in time count, but that's only 4 hours. The one that the city does, we do it in a day and a half. And because we know the complexity of our city and where the homeless kind of tend to go and hang out, to us, that is the most accurate account of the homeless. And if you scan that, it'll take you to a map where we saw them, and it's going to differentiate those that wanted to speak to us and those that we just observed because they didn't want to say a word to us. And even if they didn't, we still counted them because they were homeless and they were in our city. We offer job training and reentry programs. Job training, we have Work for Hope. Those are the individuals, if you ever see out, they beautify our parks. If you ever go to a park and you see a sign that says Work for Hope, those individuals at one point were homeless. Now we've transitioned them to getting them a job, and then we've been very successful in getting them full-time employment. And with full-time employment, now they have an income, and then we're able to get them into permanent housing. So we do have that program. We partner with Job Corps. They're also always taking individuals that we help get clean and employ them themselves. Community cleanups. I know Courtney mentioned earlier that the 2 positions, cleanup is very critical. We recognize that for some reason the homeless generate trash, right? I made a joke once to Sam. Sam Elzabady is the manager of the park ranger. I said, you need to put them on the payroll because they kind of bring the trash and they put it in one area. We just come and clean it up. And so because, it's very important. The mayor, the city council, the staff, we place an emphasis on our city being clean. And they don't spare a penny to have that happen. And we have Alpha Project that comes out, and they basically help us clean up the city. We are able to, if we happen to find the mattress that it blew off the back of a truck on the street, we can, if Public Works is not available, we can send McAllister Institute to go and pick up that mattress within 10 to 15 minutes. So it's huge. I don't want to talk, I can go on, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, but I wanted to hand it off now to the council member and open it up to the Q&A session. Is that correct?
We still have a very important person that you're all waiting and dying to talk to.
Are you guys gonna extend the time? We started late and we haven't really had opportunities for questions. Are we gonna extend it to?
Of course.
Thank you.
Until you have time, I have time.
Thank you.
Okay? 4 o'clock? There's a Padres game at 5:40 though. I want to introduce right now, I'm sorry, Jose. Yeah? Okay, well, we're just gonna, I know there's a lot of people that want to hear from our director, Laura Black, from Development Service Department, and if you could come up, and we can't thank you enough, Laura, for being here. Every time we address, she's updating the page, the process, and we see significant changes also because we had a few positions that needed to be filled, and she was literally carrying with her staff the whole department on her back, and plus us that we nag the hell out of her. But she's going to do a presentation and tell you what's new, what's going on in DSD, and then after that we are going to start the Q&A. Thank you, Councilmember. Good afternoon. Thank you, Councilmember Chavez, for having me. Laura Black, I'm the Director of Development Services. Consider me your one-stop shop for all your permitting needs. If you're a resident, a business owner, it's tough to follow our fire and police department because they're all doing such amazing work. I did bring our front counter manager, Deanna Sanchez, with me. She's in the back of the room. She helps get everything through the system. There's a lot that we cover. I just wanted to make myself available. I know the council member asked that we be present. If you are a homeowner and need permits, we are open. We are open from Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and then 8 to noon on Fridays. I would say if you have any questions related to any concerns for your permits are very personal. And so I know permits come up a lot, but it's very specific as to what you're looking to do. So we have a lot of information on our website. I won't bore you with all of that. But if you're really not sure where to start, I would say you can email us at dsd@chulavestaca.gov, and we'll start there. We've got staff that monitor that email all the time. I'm always available. All of our staff's contact information is on our website as well. But just wanted to let you know that we're here. If you have questions or, hey, can I do this? Or if you have a permit and you're like, I'm not sure where it is in the system, we're happy to show you that as well. So that's, in the interest of time, that's really all I was here to let you guys know. And thank you for your time this afternoon. Thank you. You're welcome. So, I want to thank Chula Vista PD that I didn't thank them properly. We are one of the safest cities in the county, and it's all thanks to them. We are, I think right now we are, thanks to Measure A, we have the most police officers, I believe, that we've had in years. In the history of the city.
This is true. We took a hit in 2008 with the recession.
Yeah.
And it's been a slow building back, but the dynamics of recruitment is very hard. It's something that most agencies throughout the nation are struggling with. And for the first time, in, I don't know, 20 years, we've been able to say that we are going to meet our full staffing level, which is 290 officers. We're hoping to get that completely filled by the end of summertime. So this is exciting news for us. Those folks that will fill those numbers are actually going into the academy as we speak. So we're very, very happy to have those numbers.
And we appreciate all of you. There's also a link we're going to add to our page for the Police Foundation. If any one of you can promote it, help in any way, shape, or form, we appreciate it. And also I wanted to mention that I had the privilege to do the point and time count on January 25th. I didn't post anything, but we're going to post it. At 3 a.m., we went with Stacy Kurtz and the director of Housing and Homelessness Service says that we're going to invite the next time we do these forums. And it was just a humbling experience. I had done it with the city of San Diego. We did hear a lot of the people and the situations they were facing and bringing them help. I want to thank again Laura Black for your time, and I know there's many businesses here, and just the availability that you always have with our offices and the quick response you have with our businesses. I'm going to open it for the Q&A. I'm going to invite everyone that was here, Laura, Courtney, our fire and police, to come back up. I know. I'm going to start writing you down. How about that? So we all get a chance. So why don't we start with John?
Okay, this is not a question, but well, it is a question. I've been trying to contact your office. I need to meet with you since May 22nd. Make an appointment with you. I have never received no response. I said, we'll call you.
I see you every single day, John. What are you talking about?
I know, but yeah, one of the, I'm an advocate for the city community that disabling the veterans. And one of the things that, since you are all here, you can help through this ordinance thing. When there's a disabled person with a disabled plate, he or she might be, one of the things that they don't really want to be worried about moving the car every 3 days. So there's a 93-year-old lady, which is disabled.
Salud.
So everything's updated. Everything's she got her car away. So, I contacted, I saw her son, caring with her, but I said, I'm having these problems, can you help me? So I started calling people. I said, well, I couldn't, they didn't, I'll pay for it. But the problem was that he had to take his mother to make sure that her car was, that was her car. The thing is, this is my idea. It doesn't know this, maybe you could modify it if there's a disabled place that cannot be moved for 3 days. Maybe get the senior services, maybe volunteer services to find out what's going on with her. Because you're not volunteer, so maybe the person died. Because I work with seniors and I know people that have died in their apartments. So one person that is disabled and sick and all, that's another thing that you have to worry about medicine, the cost of living, blah blah. Moving the car for 3 days, right, which is really unfair. And this is my suggestion. If they have the guy cost the market, which cost them $175 just to park the thing, on his apartment. To notify the senior patrol, to check on them, to see they're okay. And I know that they knock on the door.
Yeah.
Knock on the door.
We have a response.
Yeah, great. And knock on the door and contact the police. Contact the police, to check on the person. But not to tow the car. It cost them $96 to take the car out.
Do we want to give Courtney the chance?
Yeah, so just for part of your response, I think something that the city partners with that I think works really well is Meals on Wheels. I'm not talking about the car now, but making sure people are okay. There's no income requirement. There's nothing like that for Meals on Wheels, and it does provide someone coming to your house to make sure people are okay. So if you have,
I'm not talking about the business.
let me finish real quick. So if you have family members that are elderly or people that you're worried about their safety or security in their house to make sure they're okay, the Meals on Wheels program is no cost to individuals, and I think it's a great resource that people don't think of all the time that can go in and check. I learned about it after my grandmother went into a facility, and it would have been a great help for people that are assisting people in those conditions.
I'm talking about people that go around and market the cars because they move over 3 days. That's what I'm talking about. I'm still going to be Meals on Wheels. I'm a gerontologist, I know about Meals on Wheels.
So we spoke about this at the council meeting.
Right.
Yeah. The individual that you wanted me to contact that owned the car, I haven't received a phone call back.
He was desperate. It cost him $100 a day.
Yeah, but what I want you to know is that we followed up, and I haven't heard back from him.
No, he's already said over.
But the greater issue, and I understand what you're saying, why is there a 72-hour requirement for somebody to move their car? right? That's basically the
Alright.
question.
But,
With the- with
yeah,
the-
but I'm talking about, if there's a disabled car, everything's up there with a
We can bring it
disabled
back.
plate.
To discussion.
Instead of taking it, check on the person. It's only a human.
John, is it okay if we get the information from you and we can follow up? So we have a lot of people that want to talk, and we'll
Okay.
bring it back to you.
My idea, since you work on is there any plans of having the trolley going from outside, coming this way? Because, it's gonna be a lot of traffic with university, the housing stuff.
Yep. We have bus lines. We are working on a purple line. We can send you all the information. There's a lot of routes that we're adding from Otay Mesa. The trolley's not going to connect with the university, but there is going to be many bus lines and many other options that we have. But I'll send you the information. Let's give that time for Delia now. And
So will I be able to meet with you soon?
you talk to me every day, John. Look at you. No, of course. Yeah, no, definitely. We talk on the phone. Okay, let's go.
A couple questions related to the 125 that you were sharing about. And thank you for sharing. And at the end of, during your board comments, you give us an update now. Thank you. I requested it and you provided the 125 information.
That's what we're here for.
But I do have questions about it. I know that there's the SR 125, the big mess up. I was one of those victims. They charged me $60 every 4 days. I'm like, I have enough Chula Vista. What the heck? They did that for very many times. We don't know what recourse we have. If you're looking at an audit, I think there should be an audit, a forensic audit to find out what people need to be reimbursed. There was just no clarifying with them. So if that could be
It's an external and internal audit, and if anyone has an issue, please reach out to my office because we will be notifying. Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Send everything
And
my
I
way.
do
Yeah.
want to share with you, Councilwoman, that I've been trying for like 5-6 months to get a meeting with you. And afterwards, during the city council, when it was changed for the consent items to be reduced, and the amount of time we could speak, we were encouraged to then reach out to each of the council members to meet with you to minimize the time out
I
there.
apologize for
So
that. And
I've been trying, I've got some emails.
Jared is gonna set it up for next week, and we're just gonna do it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, I can appreciate that. 'cause
We'll
I've
go
been
for a
trying
walk or
to-
something.
I
Yeah.
need a walk, I need a talk.
Okay. No, perfect.
But, so on that note, and, the other one, a follow-up on the, river, the Tijuana River Valley and the sewage. I appreciate that we're getting more involved in it, but it's been how many years that people can't access it? That's where I raised, some of my family's still there. But I did wanna, give you the heads up, maybe our city council was not aware. Currently, I know that we have, $150 million from this current federal administration issuing to combat this. But there was $300 million that was authorized in the previous federal administration. So does that mean, where is that $300 million, is my question to you to possibly pursue? Because then that means we have almost $500 million available to do something, because we would add the previous authorized money and the current authorized money. If we could share, see, these are questions I would have been able to ask you, but I'm glad we're here.
Definitely. No, definitely. And that's what we're doing this forum for, to address.
And SB 1208 to stop the proposed new landfill. I know that came out of left field. We had the proposed new landfill. It's been like 20, 30 years in the making, and all of a sudden stop it. And we can't help but think that it's just a bunch of political maneuvering now. But that new landfill was supposed to take over this horrific landfill we have now. And in the last cycle where we were looking to appoint, or you guys looking to appoint a D3 representative, that question was posed as well. And everybody seemed very concerned about the stench. We're going into summer, and it gets pretty bad. One of my cousins moved from there a couple years ago because of the stench. It's so bad. So I would like to see, and I think the community as a whole, doesn't matter what party communication is we would like to see that is
Do you
put
wanna address
aside,
On the
that is
landfill,
put
or
aside,
should we?
and that we do not stop,
Republic.
SB 1208 was put on the ballot the last in the last, the 11th hour. And that needs to stop. We need a new landfill. People were promised a new landfill when they purchased in D3. And I think we owe, I mean, we're talking about land, well, they're connected to the Tijuana sewage. We care so much about that bacterial stuff and all
Right.
that stench. What do you think the landfill is doing?
And I think that a lot of the decisions we make, we have to be well informed by the staff. And they do an excellent job, and they have been talking to Republic. It hasn't been something that we are ignoring, and I'm gonna let Courtney talk a little bit about that really
But
quick.
I know that they're trying to do what? They can't grow.
Oh, she has a response for that, exactly that.
I do think that it needs to be looked in a very nonpartisan, objective way, because we breathe the same air.
True.
Right, and I think Adriana, she's our legislative manager that oversees and does all our legislative analysis, presented to council with that, and the two aren't necessarily linked together. So the landfill not being in that location will not impact the length or time that happens at the current landfill that's in Chula Vista. It doesn't make it bigger or stay longer, so they're kind of separate.
Okay, so that's the other question. So.
Sorry.
Sorry, but I put question marks.
You had a question too?
That's why I asked it. I am so sorry. I would have addressed this because we don't have time like the city council.
We completely understand. That's why we're creating these forums.
Right. The planning to incorporate, I appreciate that it was clarified, but I think it might recommend for you that in the presentation that it clarifies where this homeless money is going.
Sure,
That would have
I will be clear. I'll be clear. To Public Works staff.
To the hot team, but then I can direct those questions to the hot team. Like, okay, Palomar, I sent pictures to Councilwoman Moreno about on Palomar and the Palomar Inn.
The Palomar Hotel.
Of that
Yeah.
horrific setup there.
And so, I mean,
But there's a connection between, like, one hand washes, one says, no, not my turn, it's MTS. Oh, no,
it's Caltrans and
it's
then,
Caltrans. No,
yeah, it's
Who
difficult.
cares? Pick it up.
Well, there's
Charge
certain
the other
you wanna
person.
do.
I can.
Charge the other department. You know what? You're not here to do your job. I'm gonna pick it up. It's costing me this much money. You know how quick they're gonna start coming to clean it up?
Homeless questions, please?
No, I wanted to make it
No,
public, so y'all know we're watching.
The young lady in the back, before the meeting started, she brought up an excellent point, because that area, especially Palomar off the 5, right, the homeless, but that area is Caltrans. So it's in our jurisdictional boundary, however, that area belongs to Caltrans, CHP, so they're the ones that are responsible to clean up.
Build them.
We do work with them.
Yeah, we do, actually, we work alongside them, and it's a challenge, because now we have to have like MOUs in place to be able, because we are mandated. You can't just show up to an encampment, just to give you an example, right? An encampment you have to post. You can't just show up and clean it up. The homeless have rights.
Yeah.
So we have to post, we put a 72-hour notice, we offer them services, and we say, here we are, what do you need? How can we help you get off the streets? The majority of the time, they refuse all services, with the exception of like naloxone or something like that. But we can't just clean up if they're living in that encampment. So then,
But those MOUs and agreements, I don't wanna be crude, but that's your job. Figure it out,
well,
talk to
remember the Caltrans is at the state level, we're at the state level, and sometimes that's the challenge. But I know for a fact, because Maria, our city manager, has directed us at times to say, clean that area up, I don't care that it's in Caltrans' responsibility, because the optics of it
That's
is
Maria.
bad for us, and that's how she is. But sometimes, you're talking about cleaning up thousands and thousands of trash. So if we pull our public works people from the job that they're doing daily to focus on that, it's probably gonna take 2 to 3 days to clean up, right? We're neglecting other parts of the city when it should be Caltrans dedicating their resources to clean that up. That's the challenge, get them to do their job.
Why don't you give me a card, I have a loud voice, give me a card of the Caltrans person, and I will call
I
it.
don't have his card, but I'll
No,
send you his
yeah.
information.
Thank you.
Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So we will share also, I know Councilmember Moreno is gonna have a forum as well, right? A community forum? Do you know the date? We don't have the date. but we'll share it with you as soon as possible. I think it's the 12th, so we're gonna share it with you anyways. Ms. Lopez,
What date is that?
I think it's on the.
I think it's the 12th, but we're gonna share it with you. Go ahead.
Good morning, my name is Berta Lopez. I'm a proud resident of this District 1 for the past almost 30 years. I do want to thank the police department and everyone that was here this morning to give us all this information. I've had a couple of concerns that have been going on regarding building permits. I've been on hold for about 10-15 minutes. I never get an answer. So now I know who's the person in charge. I will go directly to you. Thank you for being here. The police department, I had an issue about 3 or 4 months ago where I went and I filed a police report against another citizen. I waited for about 3 hours. In the office, I was safe. The office closed. They locked the doors, and I stayed inside without any problem. I always felt safe. I finally made a couple of calls to a couple of contacts. Finally, a police officer showed up to take my complaint. It's, I know that it's something because you're short in police officers, but I just wanted to share that personal experience. I thank you.
Can I respond to you?
Sure.
So first of all, I can appreciate what you're talking about. I think when you have a situation where it requires police attention.
And I felt scared, that's the reason why I had to go and file it with the police.
Yes, I absolutely understand. I always try to look at it with services. What if it was my family member, right?
Yes,
And how would I want them to be treated?
yes.
And sometimes we may not do the very best in communication, right? I do believe communication is something we can always improve on. But when we have calls for service that come in, what the general public may not understand, and I'll let everybody know, is that everything has to be prioritized. So if we have several what we call priority 1 incidents that are taking place, those are crimes that are in progress, usually of a felony nature, and we have to get officers there immediately. And sometimes these cases will wrap most of patrol up. And so I apologize for having the time that you had to wait. And if you ever have a situation like that where you're in the police department and there is a safety issue, please convey it forward to the dispatch center and we'll see what we can do about getting somebody to help you out immediately. But I just want everybody to know that everybody's call for service is highly important to us. We're just juggling the needs of the city at the same time. And so if you, in this case, felt better going home and waiting for an officer to show up to speak with you, or staying in the police department, please do whatever you feel is safe. But I want you to know that we're going to do everything we can to address the needs of the community. I just wanted to put that out there so you have an understanding as far as how calls will work.
And thank you so much. I was an elementary school teacher, kindergarten for 40 years. So talk about patient.
That's important.
I hated the police 40 hours, okay? So, one of the things, and I'm glad, Councilwoman Chavez, that you have this forum because I have not seen you in about the past 2 years. I belong to a lot of community organizations that we have a lot of meetings in District 1, but you have not been present, or maybe you've been present.
I've missed you.
The ones that I have not
Yeah.
been present. But I'm glad that you finally are having this community forum.
It's important to us.
I don't know exactly how many people that are here that actually belong to District 1. But I am District 1. I know I've seen some people that I know that they do not belong to District 1 because I know them personally. But why I'm saying that, I think it's important for you to be more visible in our district.
Yeah.
Number one, I think the fact that a lot of people don't know you in our district. I know you, but a lot of people don't. I think it's important that perhaps, I'm going to give you a suggestion, and with maybe have another community forum, but for yourself. All these people, I know they're very important. They have a job to do. I know they're super important. I have firemen in my family. I have police officers in my family. I'm a school teacher. Community service is our number 1 priority. I think I know your family, Mr. Pineda. But,
Were you very well known? Very well known.
Hey, I'm gonna get scolded right now.
Oh, she's talking about the kids now.
Teacher before so my other concern is that we're all busy.
Right.
Ms. Chavez, and today I was very disappointed. I was here like 5 minutes to 11. You did not start this meeting until 11:10.
Yeah.
You know, we have families.
We were carrying some
We have
stuff for you to have water and,
I have a
yeah.
graduation, my oldest son is graduated, and we have a party for him today, but I'm
Oh,
still
congrats.
here because I care about my community.
No, definitely.
So constructive criticism, it would be, you know, if you're gonna start at 11 o'clock, let's do it. I think the gentleman, the fireman, the fire chief, I'm sorry, I didn't take your.
Got a promotion.
But he tried.
Got a promotion
he tried
recently.
To kill some time with it because you were not here present.
Yeah,
So
sorry, we were
perhaps
carrying some stuff in.
On our next meeting, and I hope it's soon, maybe within the next 2 months, that you do have a community forum and you do have it at a larger place because as you can see, people are standing outside, they're not sitting down, and we have a lot of facilities here in District 1, and I'm
We
very
have
much
so many beautiful
large
venues.
that we can
Yeah,
have
definitely.
that we can have
Noted.
this kind of a game. But I like to hear, because I know you said at the very beginning you belong to all these organizations, you've been doing all these meetings. You know, I don't have to be a public elected official to belong to all these organizations. I want to know what is that you have accomplished for District 1 by yourself. What is it? What are the initiatives that you have put forward for my district? Because I do pay taxes. You know, unfortunately, I do pay taxes. A lot of us pay taxes, very high taxes, especially when you have more than one property in the East Lake area. You pay a lot of property taxes. So just want you to know that starting on time is very important. Having more visibility with your constituents is very important. But I do thank you. Don't worry. I was there patiently. I filed my report finally because I felt really, really scared. And I said, no, I'm gonna do it because I'm not stepping out of this office unless I file a police report. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Fire department.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I'm still gonna look into you because I want some of your family members of my kids. So,
And thank you for coming. It's very important for us. We put together this forum and with all these kind people that took days out of their time and their families to be here because we have many constituents that have different issues, right? And of course, you can hear me and I can do a state of the district if it's necessary. And that's why we're doing also the newsletter too. We've been walking with businesses, many of you have seen me. But also it's very important for me to have the main people in their areas dedicate their important time to resolving these specific issues that I completely cannot give you a specific answer, but they can. They are the rock stars in these issues, but I will do better. That's what I'm here for.
Visibility is
Yes.
very important.
Completely agree.
I heard 2 people say that they try to make appointments with you. I've never tried, but they tried and they haven't been able to see you. So visibility is very,
Completely
very
agree.
important. And I think as a constituent for the city, I pay a lot of taxes. And I know you guys are working overtime, but I thank you very much and thank you for listening.
Thank you. We're gonna go now to our good friend from Chula Vista Brewing, Timothy,
Oh, thank you. I don't need to stand up for it.
if you want.
I want to thank you all for coming, first of all. I think the city overall is doing a phenomenal job. And while we all human, we can't be 100% perfect. I know you all are trying your best. My biggest concern is to talk about really to her permitting. Right now, I'm looking at permitting in the city of Chula Vista for small businesses particularly. It takes about a year or 2 years to get permits through the city. Now, if a fast food chain come in, it takes them about a couple months. So that's a huge disconnect when it comes to small businesses and chains. What I find the biggest problem to be with permitting is, one, I don't think you have qualified people doing permits. And I say that because I already know the answer. I used to do surveillance in the Navy, so when I search someone, I'm gonna find out about it. So you keep saying engineers, and I'm sending emails like, yo, that guy's not an engineer, and he's making bad decisions. Because I'm hiring an engineer to do engineering questions, to think permitting, and the holdup is constantly being wrong. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example. I have a corridor at a brewery that's about 10 feet. I had a so-called engineer that is not an engineer, but he's signing off permits. He wanted me to put a door at the beginning of that less than 10 feet corridor, a door in the middle of that 10 feet corridor, and obviously the exit. Now, luckily, Darren with the fire department said no. It took a year of fighting with that one particular person. Darren said no, he's not going to allow that to happen, but whoever's doing the permit, he was stuck on this crazy idea he came up with. and I'm sitting there on hold, my business is on hold by a stupid decision based off someone permit, nobody's holding that person accountable. Now, luckily Darren won the battle, because that would have been a fire hazard. You trying to have a fire or something, or any emergency, and you have a crowd of people trying to go through a corridor, hit a door. 2 feet later, hit another door. 2 feet later, hit another door. That's just plain stupid. All right? But the problem is, permitting is not holding itself accountable for their own actions. And I feel like there's no one, I feel like there's a lot of great people, like Tiffany back there. I know she's always been a great help. Darren always been a great help. But when I run into people like Celine, who comes up with stupid ideas, I'm just at a step. Like right now, I have permits I put in, and I've actually proved to the city permit of other places that have the same thing, and it's just been a year and a half now, and almost to the point I want to give up, because it's just a waste of my time and money, and it's almost to the point, like if I do a third business, it won't be in Chula Vista, not because I don't want to be in Chula Vista, but because I don't want to be wasting the money of waiting 2 years to open up in Chula Vista. You get what I'm saying? So when y'all do y'all accounting and quota, one of the things that need to be done is start looking at how much money is being lost when you have these small businesses not opening because permit. You get what I'm saying? Because y'all doing y'all accounting, oh, we made this amount, we kicked this permit back. I mean, that $120 you got back every kickback, I would rather pay you up front just to get my business open. Like, raise up the permitting fee if you're going off a quota. I'd rather you raise that up and I pay you and get my permit through. And I'm not saying you let me get through doing something wrong, but if we basing it off a quota and you keep kicking it back because you're trying to meet the quota, now you're just wasting my time. Because the money you could have made off the taxes far exceeds the money you could have made off that stupid 120. You get what I'm saying? And the time you wasted. So my point is one, I think you need to start better hiring, have real engineers. Please stop saying people are engineers that do not have an engineering degree. They are not engineers. He has a math degree, but he don't have an engineering degree. Two different things. Have people qualified and know what they're talking about. And I'm going to tell you a second example. So I opened up East Lake. Celine asked me to get rid of the grease trap. Now, that's very stupid because we got a lot of grease going through East Lake at that kitchen. A year and a half, 6 months later, I decided to do another kitchen with absolutely have zero grease. He's requiring a grease trap. Now, why would you actually have me get rid of the grease trap in a place that I'm doing grease, and then tell me to add a grease trap in a place I'm not doing grease? That's how.
I feel a little uncomfortable. We're not going to talk about city staff.
Right.
Why don't we address it here, and then we're gonna let.
The point is, I'm looking for more accountability in the permit. It shouldn't take people 1 to 2 years to get permitting through. That's my point. And I'm sorry to call people out by name, but I've been dealing with this for so long, and this happened even in your home. If I want to put a pool in my backyard and I cookie cutter another pool from someone else, it doesn't make a difference because I know it's still going to take 1 or 2 years of dealing with the.
Timothy, if I can jump in, maybe we're going to change the dynamic, and I apologize to our city staff and everyone that's here. Let's not attack the city stuff.
Let's trying to point out.
Let's not make them feel uncomfortable. What we're going to do is we're going to ask the question, and then we're going to see how we can answer it. Yeah.
How are we going to fix the permit problem?
We're working on it every day, and I'm happy to talk to you about your specific issue because every permit is personal. Like I said, if you're a business, if you're a homeowner, I've been in the city for 3.5 years. I was in another city for 19 years. I had over 50% turnover on staffing due to retirements and people going to other agencies. We are doing the best we can do. I will tell you from a chain standpoint, working with the national chains is worse than working with the local businesses. It is not my job is to get your permits issued and to get your homes built and to get your businesses running. So if there are pinch points, that's where I am there and my staff is there to let's get it resolved. I am not in the business to keep permits in my house.
And Timothy, also, I want to mention that we did reach out to Chairwoman Nora Vargas. The county had an issue as well, involvement in this. I'm very familiar with your issue.
Yeah.
And I'm also gonna ask Chair Vargas for the next forum, for her to send personnel. And aside from that, I feel like it's a good idea that when we have specific issues like yours, maybe not on the spot because there's many people that want to talk, but maybe we can take it up a little later. We can follow up. I know Laura has an open door policy, and we can take it up a little later if we can continue with some other questions.
Right.
But thank you for coming.
Clear the record that
And
I want to point out that anytime I call particular staff, they are very good. Like I said, you helped me, Laura Vargas helped me, Tiffany, I think she's in the back, that's you, right?
Deanna.
Deanna. Tiffany didn't come today.
Right, but you have helped me. For the most part, the staff has been very good. And the reason why I really want to point out is that we do have there is some people that hold a lot of things up, and it's the common same people that comes up every time. And I want to know how we're going to address those people and how we're going to fix it, so that way small businesses not being stuck. Constantly and some people you have to, even though you're short staff, I totally understand that. The people that is holding up small businesses need to be held accountable for the actions that they keep making the wrong actions.
If I could, you will never know when we have something go on with our staff because it's not appropriate for us as an organization to tell you what we're doing. Hopefully you'll see change, right? But we do not have the capacity to share personnel actions that take place.
I'm not trying to act for
Yeah, well.
I'll figure it out.
No, but it's a good follow up. That's why we're here, right? We're starting from here, but let's keep directing this way the questions and comments so we can follow up after this.
Yeah, and the city manager also started a small business roundtable recently to kind of get that feedback from our small business community to try and bring that and find what those pinch points are citywide and how we can do a better job.
And we can share that information on how to access it or send the comments and information that you need.
That's how I know y'all do the quota based off the, how many times y'all kick it back. I learned that from that little.
Well, hopefully after this we can find a solution, and I hate that it's not just the city, also the county. But after this, we're gonna have, and thank you again, Laura. I know there's so many topics and everyone's so passionate, and it's really frustrating. And believe you me, sometimes the process, I wish we centralized everything on all levels, but we have to. That's why we're here, to make those changes. And thank you for being here. And we're gonna follow up with you after this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Richard Scott. I'm a resident here in Benita for a lot of years. And I want to know, first off, Councilwoman Chavez, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
But I want to know if you're aware of the effort underway by the Sweetwater Authority to float a solar farm on the Sweetwater Reservoir that could be as much as 200 or more acres.
Well, I know we discussed this at Chairwoman Vargas' forum the last time. What I'm gonna do is, because we have someone from Sweetwater here. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Ty. No. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna send us your information, send us your questions, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit down and see what. I'm not gonna say I understand everything that's going on, but we can sit down and address it. Yes, definitely.
We have a core group of people who are very well educated.
Definitely.
And could we meet with you?
Yes.
Provide
Yes. Jared is gonna take your information. We're gonna schedule both Delia, John, and you next week. Okay, Jose.
I think I've already given a positive note to our chief, considering that I'm a retired assistant farm marshal for the city of San Diego. I was involved a lot with the permitting, and I was hired by the convention center to be on site because the permit process was so dedicated to the convention center that we were hindering those that wanted those permits, within a proper time. So kudos to the convention center. I learned a lot, and I became assistant fire marshal because of that. My question is directed to the police. Oh, and good job also with the fire prevention inspectors. They put in a lot of the time. As far as the police, I was 9 years on the safety commission for the city. for the city of Chula Vista, 9 years also on the Board of Appeals. That was my volunteer to the city on my own. The Safety Commission, for almost 8 years, was completely full of people who had so many concerns about the traffic patterns that we had in Chula Vista. Now we having streets that are much compacted. You can't almost pass each other. And also, I'm hearing that there was 2 deaths, in within the, what did you say, the 2 deaths were involved in traffic? I think it was okay, well, how are we addressing those issues? And is there a large contingent of community members attending these? And I just want to hear. I'm just trying to figure out where we're at.
As far as the safety commission is concerned, I don't have those answers. But I realize within the community, there's usually 2 really important topics. One is our homeless population, and the second is traffic-related matters, obviously. And so what I did in order to be prepared for you folks today is just give you some basic overview of traffic-related problems here in District 1. So for a 3-year period between 21 and 24, there's been 810 traffic collisions in District 1. Okay. As far as fatalities are concerned, over the 4 years we've had your top locations for traffic-related matters are Otay Lakes Road, East Lake Parkway, and East H Street.
And where?
East H Street. Now, let's see. The peak hours also for collisions between noon and 6. Okay. Now, I oversee our traffic bureau, and traffic-related concerns are something we take very seriously. Our traffic bureau handles what we would call a complaint. So if there's something that we're made aware of that we're not already seeing, because we can't be everywhere, what we'll do is we'll assign that to our traffic bureau team, the motors, to go out and do enforcement action and education, if you will, in those specific hot areas. So if you are coming across, see a certain area, could be a stop sign in a certain area, or speeding occurring on a large basis, or even street racing, right? There's some certain streets that become very popular for street racing. Please call us so we can address these. That's important that we know where these areas are and that we can target. We also work with multi-agencies, so within San Diego County, we'll team up with San Diego PD or CHP, and we'll do what we call dragnet stings to make sure that we're addressing like street racing type incidents. So I would say relatively, 810 collisions sounds like a lot, but most of them are non-injury collisions or just small fender benders. The more severe ones, not very many.
Well, thank you. I think what I am going to do is just attend one of the safety commission meetings, and then they will answer all my questions. But thank you for that information you provided.
I just want to make a point that, a lot of seniors they're in the social media and don't even have a cell phone. That's why I was asking you about the landlines. So you all need to find another way to contact the seniors who are not in social media.
It's our good friend Sasan's turn. I know. We'll go back. But he had his hand raised.
I really, more than anything, I want to make a comment. I just, really to all of you, as a long-time resident and business owner, I've done business here in this city for over 35 years. I've lived here for over 30 of it. I thank all of you for bringing this city to where it's at, which is phenomenal. It's the second largest city in the county. It's tremendous amount of growth and potential that is still here, and it's all due to all of you guys. And frankly, hats off to you all because it takes. I can just imagine. You guys are all just standing there and it's like fire's getting shot at you left and right, and I commend you all for taking it as.
Thank you so much, and you have such a great system, and I got to meet it. It's incredible. It's innovating.
We appreciate that very much. One of the
his dry cleaner system is top of the line, very innovative. I think it's the most modern one in the county.
That's my car. We'll see.
Yeah, no, the best.
So, you mentioned, the three arteries of, 8th Street, Telegraph, and Olympic Parkway. And I think the fourth one that's kind of getting there, which unfortunately I think outside the city, it's not getting any attention, at least for now, and it's coming up side, which is, with all the homes that are getting built on the south side now, which Main Street is becoming kind of the main corridor there. It is the one artery that I don't know if it's getting enough attention, both on the infrastructure and maybe perhaps on the visibility, just because it's not on there. So I don't know.
We've heard you, so you do listen to what we say. So actually on Thursday or Tuesday, we'll be making a presentation to council of future infrastructure needs, and Main Street is listed as one of those things.
And again, we're not against each other, and I don't want the people we're inviting today to feel attacked by us. We're here to work together and finding solutions, right? They're taking their time, and I want to commend them, and I just be kind to our staff. I mean, they are hardworking. They never stop. That's why Chula Vista is so great. We can do better. We can always do better. There's always room for improvement, but we have to work together, not against each other. So I don't know your name. I'm sorry.
Yes.
No, I know, but he already talked, so I'm giving him opportunity. I will come back.
Right across the street from Costco, so I think I'm in your district.
Yes.
I got something that's been bugging me for a long time. Does Chula Vista, do we get any,
Just say it.
okay, does any of our tax dollars go to south of Main Street into San Ysidro? Does anybody know that?
Our tax dollars go like to the city of San Diego, San Isidro?
Yes, over to Main Street.
Well, Chula Vista's tax stay in Chula Vista.
Well, would it go through Sweetwater, Union High School?
What are we talking about?
Yeah, no, that's not your taxes.
I don't think we're.
We pay taxes in the school district.
I think he's talking of we're giving other cities tax from our tax.
I'm not aware of that. I mean, I can follow up and get your information and talk with our finance department,
Well, I
but
was
I'm not aware of
wondering
a
about that
pass-through of that
The
nature.
Sweetwater's over there, right, and our taxes go to Sweetwater, right? Sweetwater Union,
There's-
schools.
It doesn't go from the city directly to there.
It's our property taxes that go to the school district. They go to Sweetwater and they also go to Chula Vista, but not San Isidro or any of the other districts.
So for as far as you know, our tax dollars don't go into the city of San Diego.
I mean, I think I need your specific question, but not that I'm aware of offhand. I'm not our finance director. I grew up in HR, so I can.
I know, she's the expert in HR. But we'll get back to you. I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to correct myself on the fatal versions. For District 1 in 3 years, it's only been one fatal. Just to correct myself, yeah, one fatal.
Thank you. I was making the numbers in my head. I'm like, thank you.
Proposition B, do you think it's supposed to come in this November?
Courtney?
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna vote on that this November, correct?
Oh, I don't know.
We haven't made a decision yet,
I
so
would suggest you wait on, because we have two San Diego things coming. They have to vote on, one of them's gonna be.
A
the
parcel
airport,
tax?
and that's for all of us, I believe.
Okay.
So that'll put us up to we're at 8.75, so that would put us at 9.25 sales tax.
Right.
And if they see this coming up, they're gonna.
the ballot's gonna be very full
It's
from,
gonna be full,
it's gonna be,
full taxes,
yeah.
I don't think it's wise to do it this year.
right.
Well, we hear you. We hear you.
The school bond issues
Go
for
ahead.
the school district.
And here's the problem I have.
We're,
Problem I have with
yeah?
something that bothers me about this county. The people who live in the city of San Diego will never raise a tax, even if God told them, okay? They've been at 7.75 forever, okay? And Chula Vista is just gonna continue to do these tax rates higher, and I'm just saying, we're going higher. They probably won't, well, they might They got two things they could do to get to 8.75. They might approve them, but I bet you they don't. They've never done it.
I think they actually have two
And
measures.
I think we're it just gets me angry that they get their trash picked up free, and yet you have a.
Well, that's gonna change.
That's ending.
Well, that's gonna
That's
change
ending.
Well,
I'm gonna let Courtney talk about that.
I live in the city of San Diego, so that's ending,
maybe that'll
yeah.
change, but
And that's why
They've
they
already
have so
voted
much
for
to
it, and
I
they,
don't think it's a good time to do P this year,
okay.
especially with the inflation issues and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, we're gonna go,
We know that the city council is looking at putting some more charter changes, amendments on the ballot. How much do we have budgeted for November to?
it's 400,000, right?
So there's, I think we have a total of 800,000 out of general fund dollars budgeted for potential measures that come out of council. And then there's an additional set aside for if Measure P goes as well.
So Measure P will have its own money.
Yeah.
And then we won't spend more than 800,000 on charter amendments in November?
That's not contemplated.
If it were to go forward, if it
Well,
were.
not even P, just these other ones the council's looking
Yeah, the other one. So there was originally $500,000 in the budget for a potential ballot measure if it was there, if there was something that came out of charter review or something. With the budget adopted, we added an additional 300,000 so that there could be a potential of two. If those didn't move forward, then the funds are available. If something cost more than that, it would take 4/5 of council vote to amend the budget to change that.
Okay, we're going back to Timothy.
We kind of jumped around, but it just popped in my head once you were talking about traffic, particularly in East Lake. I notice every time I'm going to take my kids to school, and I'm watching kids cross the street, I'm literally watching them risk their lives because people just keep running the lights. At some point, I understand that having police out there, like you got one station, there's not enough cops. But at some point, I feel like too many kids is either gonna be hit, ran over, or killed due to people just constantly running lights in East Lake as a whole. There's something about that community, it's like, when they leave East Lake, they're good. When they get back to East Lake, it's like we just gonna run out every light that we see. So, is there a way to where we can, like, once a month, you just go out there, look, you just park right there in front of the Walmart, right there, you run the light, boom, ticket them all. You know, to get in their head, hey, I need to start being more conscious of, hey, stopping at these red lights.
Yeah, those kids don't. They look at their phones even when they get the light to go. They're stupid.
So,
Well, we're not gonna respond between us because everyone has the no. We hear
So
you.
are you talking East Lake and Otay Lakes Road
But these
intersection?
are
I see it, well, I take my kids to school, I gotta cross like a bunch of major roads between Old Tide, Old Olympic, and Hunt.
Yeah.
And I've always see kids trying to cross the street, and I always see some adults running that light, and those kids jumping out of the way or something.
Yeah.
So but even when nobody's crossing the street, I still see, like when I stop at the light, I wait because I know about 4 or 5 cars about to run it. So what I'm saying is like something needs to be done in East Lake before something bad. I mean, people already been hit and ran over a bunch of times, but what are we gonna do to change that community from constantly running the lights?
Well, I appreciate that we're talking about this because we're not all over the place all the time. And so this is where the community engagement portion of what we do is so important. So let us know those specific areas that we're having problems with, and we can have our targeted and educated enforcement go out there. And for high visibility reasons. And so when people see the officers, they're gonna pump their brakes and slow down, and if they don't, then we can educate them with the ticket.
And also, go ahead.
I can tell you, like, what are we doing? Our traffic division does random operations where they do, speed enforcement.
Yep.
Very recently, I think it was like 2 months ago. And so not only our city, but countywide, traffic divisions, they come together and every once a month they go to they select a city. And traffic motors from the city come and they converge into Chula Vista. It was about 2 months ago. And in a 4-hour period, they gave out 208 tickets for people for all speeding violations. So yeah, we do direct enforcement, randomly. We wish we had the staffing and we're getting to a point where we're able to dedicate more resources to a certain area. But we are out there. We are, doing what we can to be visible, to deter people from speeding. But if you let us know the areas that you think are a problem, like Captain English said, we can certainly direct our traffic division to put some emphasis on that.
The community really is our best eyes and know what's going on. Because when we show up in the patrol car, everybody wants to drive fantastic.
Right.
You know, we don't see what you see. So if we have the intel, then we can work.
I saw some people throwing a bunch of trash out of their car. I parked, I saw the plates, and I picked it up. I mean, we have to be an asset to them as well. I mean, she already wrote down the streets, I wrote down the streets, so we're gonna take.
I got a letter to the commission, safety commission also, so I did that for them.
Completely agree. Patty, John, she hasn't talked. Look at John's face.
Thank you for inviting and for taking your time. I really appreciate each one of you and everything that you have been doing for Chula Vista. I'm a resident of Chula Vista and this district for 35 years. And besides commanding the job that you have, I just have a suggestion. We know that Chula Vista will be booming, and it's booming now. And once the Gaylord open, like Timothy and many other businesses are gonna come, is there a way that in your planning budget, you help Laura with the right staff? I'm not saying it's wrong now or anything, with the correct staff that she needs, so that permits can really have a faster pace and our community starts growing at the same pace that we are seeing that it's growing. Because if you don't help her with the resources, she's stuck.
Because really the issue is, I moved our store from one side of Chula Vista to another side about 10 years ago. So way before your time, and honestly had the exact same issue. So this is, it's been kind of maybe an overall systematic thing that's been going on, and it really holds back. Being in the business community, talking to other businesses outside the city, not that it's great anywhere else, it's really not, but it just happens to be far worse here in Chula Vista. And so it does impede businesses who want to come in here, and because there's so much potential, so much growth, so much opportunity here for businesses to come in, but yet they hear about the horror stories of just permitting alone, because it shoots you in the foot left and right all the time.
Well, I appreciate the support, but I do want to make it very clear, I do have wonderful staff, and we've had turnover, but I mean, retirements, people going elsewhere, and we're hiring really great talent.
But the amount of businesses that are coming, I don't think you will be prepared with the staff you have.
We're also looking at technical, we're looking at digital ways to improve things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of innovation that's happening. I can't showcase it yet because it's not public, but we are working on that.
We're working
And we do recognize that we do need, I know the manager's office has a forum on businesses. That's the most important thing for us. You guys have been in this city, we want you to stay in this city, and we know that time is money. Always.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we've added some staff this year, at least a couple into the staff, but it's something we're continuously looking at. I mean, quite frankly, every department in the city could use more people to get things done, but where we're having these things, it's something that we are continually talking about the city manager.
Opens up.
Yeah.
They have a lot of stores for them to, go there.
Yeah.
People are not gonna be paying the fee, the mortgage or whatever, and on top of that, waiting 1 or 2 years. That is gonna boom completely.
Investing in certain departments like that, it becomes more of an investment than an expense, because it will actually help growth in creating more revenue. Instead of it being an expense, it becomes an investment where you go, okay, we invested this much into this department, systems, personnel, the whole process, where we can expedite things. That expedition allows other entities to want to come into the city, which then help the growth even more. So I think just that, instead of an expense for you, looking at the investment.
Okay, so, no, definitely, and I know that this is an issue that we are always talking about, the right personnel, supporting our directors. Laura Black, I can't thank you enough with all that you do, and I hate that we're thinking that she's the reason why things are detained. It's
No,
not.
no, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I see.
I don't want people to have that perception because it's not. We're here to communicate and talk, and these great ideas, I mean, we're already working on them. As Laura mentioned, as Courtney mentioned, she was the HR guru for many, many years. And so we are working on them. We are aware of the situation, and we will be coming back and informing how you will notice the difference. We might not talk about personnel, but we will notice the difference. Go ahead. He had a question.
Maybe the county or the state can see, check out what Arizona's doing with permits. They're streamlining them, like within 30 days. And somebody should see if it could work here. Because there's people in Chula Vista wouldn't mind building another unit behind their unit, but the permits are so expensive, they take too long. And like he was saying, we gotta get this thing going.
Okay. Well, we're just gonna finish. Oh, you haven't talked. Sorry, John, again. He hasn't talked.
Great turnout from the community today, and I appreciate all the officials and yourself elected showing up.
Thank you.
I do have one criticism, is that an appointed person can put it on the calendar and make sure the city is aware of an event like this, yet your event was missing from today's calendar. Is there a reason why?
That is true. That's right. That is true.
We'll make sure that it doesn't miss for the next calendar. Yeah, completely.
We look forward to you having another one like this. I really want to thank every single one of you guys. I mean, come on here, cold stop. You don't have an idea to what questions we have to ask. Really appreciate all of you. But when do you anticipate?
I think we're gonna do the next one either in 2 months. I think the latest.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about businesses specifically. We're gonna talking to community. We're gonna go to the HOA. So we have we're working on a whole schedule.
So, and the updates to the questions that, like these business.
Directly, so right now I was gonna announce that, I was talking to Courtney, that as soon as we have the last speaker, which we're gonna keep it brief, John, we're gonna come outside and they will still be available, and we will also follow up. Jared's been taking notes, I've been taking notes.
The questions that you were all asking.
Definitely.
Friends that have businesses or thinking about it, we could share that information and how we get it out to the public, maybe on your newsletter.
Yeah, sign up for the newsletter, the scan codes are outside. John, you're the last one.
I want to thank you all for coming and taking your time for coming. But processing and prepping, you guys are now that's the community, except for 805 South, West, it's sort of like a Puncart. So, I see that improvements on the east side on 805, but 805 West is always for that. So this is my idea, and see what you think of. What if we start busing all the unsheltered homeless people to the east side? Would the front so faster? Yes,
Well, I think that, you gave me the date for Councilmember Moreno. She has been a great asset to this dais. She understands on the nonprofit side, and she has been working with these issues for many, many years. You actually told me that her forum is going to be, her community forum is going to be on the 12th from 5 to 7. So I am looking forward to it. We are not, I know there's people here that came from outside District 1, but I'm here to hear everyone, because at the end of the day, we will be making decision on the die-ins for everyone. So,
if I may add something to the question about moving up, well, I have to respond.
We're one city, one region.
That's where I can give an answer. It's not about moving up, it's a legislation. Right now, there's a court case, Grants versus Johnson, that's being decided on, that it's an anti-camping ordinance. That's gonna dictate what we do. We have, the city of Chula Vista, we already drafted an ordinance, but we were waiting on that decision before we roll it out, because that's gonna determine our limitations with that ordinance. And so.
Okay, so pass it over here?
You can pass it, but it's not, we have a shelter where we
have to help them, not move them around,
it's a
John.
legislation. I recommend, reach out to your legislators and, hey, there's already, there's a
a number of things that we can discuss, but that's what we're waiting on that ruling before we enact our own ordinance. But we're ready to roll it out.
You have to remember also, homeless why you see a lot of homeless is because they travel through the trolley a lot.
Right, yeah.
So,
That's
why we need to put the trolley over here.
We're helping them, we're not moving them around. Okay, we're coming, and also we have social services there, and we have many issues that we're not thinking about, but this last.
Because the homeless are still people. So you know, we keep talking about them like these foreign entities. They're not. They're part of our community one way or the other. So however we can help them, I hope that's the issue, not necessarily just to get rid of them. It's how do we help them so that they're not homeless anymore.
They have to accept the services. That's the key.
And so how do we get that, whether they're homeless by economic issues or they're whatever other reason.
And let me jump in there, because when we've done the point in time count, we have talked to them. I know Stacy does an incredible job of talking individually, and I know the police department, and it takes a village literally to talk to them, and sometimes they don't want the help. We knocked on cars, we talked to them, and they don't want the help. We have accepted pets, we have accepted them with their belongings, because that's their number one concern, to leave their. Well, we can't force them, right? Because they are human beings.
I think you should force them.
But we're having this discussion. We are doing. I want to thank the police department. I want to thank the director of housing and homelessness services, because this is not something we take lightly. And I appreciate you coming here today. This is what we do. We're not here. We're here to find solutions together. This is important to us, and I appreciate everyone that's here today, because it's a Saturday. I don't want them to feel attacked every time they come, because I can be here giving you information of what we do, but you need them as well. So treat them well, thank them. That's what makes Chula Vista great. Thank each and every one of them when you see them. It's a hard job. It's a hard job to keeping the best city afloat and to keep it beautiful.
Thank you.
So thank you for coming today. John, tú y yo hablamos. Ay, John, Acosta. Hablo más contigo que con mi mamá, John.